Welcome to Look Around the Confederation. I'm one of your hosts, Eden Moose, and I'm joined by the Florida man, Sean McFall. Welcome
Howdy,
to
gentlemen and ladies.
Jack Nabbit. Welcome to another episode of Look Around the Confederation. I think I already said it. I got my intro confused. Before we get started, please remember the views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the SCV. It's GEC, nor Divisions Brigade camps or any other subsidiaries. How is everybody doing in Dixieland tonight? We got an action-packed show for you. We got a good bit of camp news, and of course, we have the Army of Northern Virginia on tonight to give an update on the Army of Northern Virginia. We have Army of Northern Virginia Commander Kevin Stone, Army of Northern Virginia Councilman Kenny Ramsey. I think this is Commander Stone's first time on the chat, and I think Kenny's a regular. He appeared a couple times last season, so we're happy to have him back. We're happy to have Kevin Stone back, or not back, but on for the first time. It's going to be an action-packed episode here for us. We got some camp news we'll dive into, me and the Florida man, and we'll get started. So let's dive through it. First bit of news will be that on October 7th at Pinewood Cemetery at 11 a.m., Daytona Beach, Florida, the private William Riley Milton Camp 741 will be having a footstone dedication for its namesake. Also in attendance will be the grandson of Private William Riley Milton and other family members. Camp Commander Victor Smith is asking anybody who is wishing to attend to please email him at the email scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Whew. Didn't know if I was going to get through that. I did that in one long breath. I'm impressed. Didn't even butcher the name of anybody.
Yeah.
Looks like we do have Victor Smith in the chat. Good to see you, Commander. We have Johnson Jr. in the chat, David in the chat, Army of Tennessee Commander Jimmy Hill in the chat, Daniel in the chat, Mr. Jerry in the chat, Mr. David, Army of Tennessee Councilman Carl Jones in the chat, Past Commander-in-Chief, the most sharp-dressed man in the SCV, Paul Gramlin Jr. in the chat, and Miss Linda in the chat. Good to see y'all. Says Mr. Roy is with his Metcalf troops. That's good to hear. I hope they're doing some good work. All right. I want to go down a bit of the list here and knock out some more news. Speaking of the Army of Tennessee, the Alabama Division will have its first ever Yellow Hammer Jammer on September 30th, 2023 from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Confederate Memorial Park in Marbury, Alabama. They'll have music performances by Mud Cooper, Allie Knight, Brendan Young, and Unreconstructed. Guest speaker will be Past Commander-in-Chief, the Lone Ranger, Chuck McMichael. And food and drinks will be available as well for games for kids and adults, door prizes, historical presentation, and many other activities. Bring your ice cream freezers, pop-up tents, and lawn chairs. It's going to be a great day in Dixieland. There will be also a hot dog eating contest for adults and kids. No administration fee to enter the park, and it will be a good day of Southern family fun. Next up, let's see here where we're at. All right, the fundraising project for the Hayes tomb. We've talked about this a couple times on the chat, and I will dive into it here again. Let me pull up Mr. Hayes' tomb. There it is. Oh, no, there it is. So this is a tomb for Mr. Hayes. Let me see. There's my notes. Landon Carter Hayes was a Tennessee politician and a Confederate senator during the war between the states. He was born and raised in Carter County and inherited the Hipton Hayes estate when he got married. During the war, he moved to Richmond, Virginia as a Confederate senator, and during and after the war, Senator Hayes lost his property and moved to Tennessee, or Memphis, Tennessee, where he lived the rest of his life. He was buried in Memphis, then later moved to Jackson, Tennessee, where he no longer has a headstone. It is our goal to raise funds and have a headstone erected for him. This is a project from the Lieutenant Robert J. Tipton Camp, 2083. And that is a beautiful headstone, and I will post the link in the chat if you are wanting to donate to that. Make sure you go. Also, make sure to share this episode out. We have some great guests and some great camp news that people need to know about. Ooh, Don't mash that button. So make sure to do so. We also have in the chat the Chief of Heritage Operations, Mr. Ron Kennedy, Commander-in-Chief Jason Boshears, and Richard Garcia, which we have some news from him coming up shortly. Now, this next bit of news, I'm a little biased because, well, it's my camp. The Samuel H. Poe Camp number 255 are having their 30th anniversary challenge coins. They are going to be $10 each, and it goes to, of course, our camp defending the Confederate soldiers' good name in Wayne County, Mississippi. We want to thank the SCV for giving us 30 years of defending the Confederate soldiers' good name, and we hope for 30 great more years. You can contact either their camp adjutant, hello, on my SCV page, Harrison SCV 5th Brigade Councilman, and you can contact the camp commander. He goes by the name of Forrest Dawes, Historian-in-Chief, and the first Lieutenant Commander of the Mississippi Division of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. We will get you situated. Jude forgot to grab one at reunion. Jude, well, send me or my father a message and we'll try to get you set up, brother. Mr. Ron, contact my father. We should be seeing him hopefully at some point soon this year, so we'll get you one as well. Jack, yes, your stuff will be on. It is saved for last. I'm doing that to mess with my poor aide de camp. And now we're going back to the, well, actually, first, let's cover some other news. Let's see if I can say this right. Now, I got some backlash from Army of Tennessee, our Councilman, Carl Jones, for not saying this right. So, Mr. Florida man, please tell me if I do not say this right. It will make Carl grin. The Stephen D. Lee Institute will be held on I saw the thumbs up through the poster. Will be held February 16th through the 17th in Columbia, Tennessee. This year's theme will be who we are as a people and an organization. The Friday night reception will be held at the National Confederate Museum at beautiful Elm Springs. Some of the presentators include Mr. Dan, Mr. Ben, some guy named Forrest Dawes, Chris Sullivan, Frank Powell, our Chief of Heritage Operations, Mr. Ron Kennedy, and past Commander-in-Chief Chuck McMichael. Registration and hotel information will be posted by the end of summer, so make your plans now. Let me see if Carl's in the chat.
He was.
Thanks, was. Keith. I had to mess with Carl because Carl called me out because I said Stefan a couple episodes back, and I wanted to make sure I said it right for Carl.
Well, Carl will call you later.
Yes, Mr. Ron, we'll have Chuck on an episode of either SCV Chat or Look Around to talk about the Institute like we did last year. I'm a big I'm a big fan of the Stephen D. Lee Institute. So I can't wait for this year. Carl putting that he was walking his dogs. Jack, that is a question for one of our national officers. I'll put that up there. Jack DuPont asked, when was the Stephen D. Lee Institute founded? All right. Victor says strike one, Moose. I don't know what I did, but okay, Victor, strike one for you as well.
Victor, you're on the list.
I don't know if I've told you that. I'll have to tell you something funny behind the scenes after this.
Yeah, Victor knows what I mean about being on the list.
Past Commander-in-Chief Paul Grambling, yes, sir, I will. Or we'll try our best. We'll probably have them. I'll make sure to grab a couple. Next up, we have another reenactment held from October 14th through the 15th in, the Cherokee Battlefield Preservation, or sponsored by the Cherokee Battlefield Preservation. It will be, Don't you love these words? Cedar Bluff, Alabama. Y'all knew what you did when you submitted this to me. Everybody knows my pronunciation skills at this point. The reenactment battle will be held at 2 p.m. on October 14th. And October 15th, it will be at 2 p.m. again. Please remember they have a church service on Sunday at 10 a.m. And at 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., there will be a reenactor ball. Settler and food trucks will be presented. Porta potties and water will be supplied on site. And for questions, please go after the email below and go like them on Facebook while you're at it. Ooh, I love reenactments. Speaking of reenactments, again, we're going into a biased area here, considering it's Beauvoir, but I think it's a mighty beautiful property. So did Jefferson Davis. The 37th annual Fall Muster event, of course, being held at the beautiful Beauvoir, the last home of Confederate President Jefferson Davis, will be held on October 21st through the 22nd. War between the state battles daily Saturday and Sunday. Camp life, living historians, first-person presentations, period music by unreconstructed small muster for kids. The traveling Hunley exhibit will be there. A period dance, settlers and vendors, food and shacks, and a ladies' tea. If you want more information, please go visit www.visitbeauvoir.org. And remember, Beauvoir is owned and operated by the Beauvoir Corporation, whose members are also made up of the Mississippi Division of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Everybody sees why I'm a little biased now. Cedar is in a what? Cedar. Oh my gosh. Didn't even say anything, man. I love how like there's 5 people in the chat. Cedar. The funny thing is I have a cedar tree on my farm. It's been a day, which usually means it's been a normal day for me, because I always have, there's one per episode I have to butcher. Ron Kennedy, our Chief of Heritage Operations, says, ask Chris Sullivan about the founding dates for the S.D. Lee Institute. He probably will be the one to know. Look at this. So the Army of Tennessee. Oh, no, wrong one. Commander and Councilman both get on to me for my pronunciation skills. And I just want to point that out as, I believe, abuse of power, sir. Love you, Commander Hill. All right. Let's go into now. Let's see here. The Florida delegates at the reunion in Hot Spring. So here are the Florida division members that made it to Hot Springs, the national reunion this year. There is a man in one corner that looks specifically like our Florida man here, John McFall. I don't know why is that, but we also have Victor Smith. It looks like y'all's camp commanders there, Calvin Hart. I saw him, so I hope he was there in the picture.
Yep.
And a couple other great individuals. So I'm happy that y'all got that. Y'all's picture does look a lot better than ours, which actually, yeah, never mind. There is a member list provided to us. So thank you, Victor Smith, for providing that. It looks like featured members are the division commander, Calvin Hart, division adjutant, Rick Roberts, as well as several division lieutenant commanders, brigade commanders, and camp officers. Good to see y'all at reunion. Next up, I'm doing this specifically for you, Victor. So remember, you have one strike, Victor. And I love you, Victor, and I'm being nice. The private William Riley Milton Kemp 741 camp commander Victor Smith with past commander-in-chief Larry McClooney, and some scruffy looking guy in the back there. I don't know who was bright enough to give him a gewgaw, but I do have to say I think he looks mighty well in it. I just had to mess with Victor there.
Hey, Victor, that picture was copyrighted.
Yeah, it's now copyrighted by me. I own that picture now.
It's on my phone because I took it.
I forgot you took that picture. All right. Oh, this is one of those days. All right. All right, our next bit of news takes us to. Oh no, that's not it.
Yeah.
Takes us to Louisiana. The members of the Lieutenant General Richard Taylor Camp 1308 of Shreveport, Louisiana, attended the Army of Trans-Mississippi Workshop in Texas on August 12th. It looks like they had great representation, and I heard it was a fantastic workshop. So I hope everybody had a great time and learned a bit of something, because it's always good to go to these workshops. I enjoyed going to the Army of Tennessee one, and I hope one day. I love jumping around divisions. I haven't even attempted to try jumping around armies yet. I've been lucky to make it to the Alabama division one time and the Louisiana division twice so far. And I've been around for a couple of Tennessee division stuff simply because I was in Columbia. But I do like that these workshops are happening. It's always good to learn. And again, I hope to make a couple of different Army workshops one day. It's always good to go around and learn from other armies, other divisions, because people might have a bright idea that, hey, needs to be shared with the rest of the Confederation. Oh, we know these people. This is past Commander-in-Chief Chuck McMichael and past Commander-in-Chief Paul Gramlin placing a Confederate flag on the gravesite of Chuck's ancestor. Oh, Chuck, that is a Louisiana name if I've ever seen one. Mr. Sean, you take that one.
Barzilla?
Barzilla? Chuck, or Commander, you in the chat? You can help us out here?
I'm going to butcher it myself, but I would just call him Mr. Evans.
Mr. Evans of the 8th Louisiana Cavalry, buried in Ringgold, Louisiana. Okay.
I was correct. Thanks, Paul.
Says you correct. Of course you are, Sean. I'm the only one that butchers names on this show. That's my copyright gimmick infringement. So thank you, Commander, for chipping in and helping us out. But it's always good to visit your ancestors. I got the joy of visiting a couple of my ancestors from different states a while ago, and I always love visiting them, cleaning their graves, and placing a nice flag out for them. I try my best to find a flag close to the one they served under. A couple of them I just put battle flags out, like Commander McMichael did. But it's always a great time because you feel connected, and I always love feeling connected to my ancestors. It's why we're all here.
Yep.
Let's see here. Ron Kennedy says, notice how the Louisiana division left the Kennedys out of the photo. That shows you how much love you have, Mr. Kennedy. Chuck, I love the Old Testament. I read the Bible, and I try to study it to the best of the abilities that the good Lord gave me. But I'm not ashamed to say I butchered some of them Old Testament names. They were creative back then. And jumping around, let's see here. I believe we have the Richard Taylor Camp here again. Yes, the Richard Taylor Camp, 1308 of Shreveport, Louisiana, visited with the W.W. Hartsteel Camp, 314 of Marshall, Texas, on August 15, 2023. Pictured is Commander Bill Elliott of the Hartsteel Camp, with Dave Hill, Adjutant, Commander Lute Lee, Bobby Herring, and Alan Lawrence, First Lieutenant Commander. Well, I'm glad you got together. Again, camps coming together is very important. It's necessary. Let's learn from one another. It's just one camp? Okay. I think they were talking about the picture from the Army of Trans-Mississippi Workshop. I feel it looks like Chuck and Paul jumped in to defend themselves from that slander. Oh, all right. We're almost done with camp news, and we're going to jump into our guest tonight. We will go to a quick commercial break to allow some of these, and Florida Man has something he wants to say. Just going to throw Sean under the bus. Welcome to Look Around.
That's all right.
Let me put these up here. So this is from, of course, Richard Garcia, and that is these Tennessee Division Confederate Hero baseball cards. It's Of course, sponsored by the Tennessee Division Confederate Heroes Card Committee. Would like to be featured in a future episode to discuss our project. So I want to give them a little spotlight right now. They will come on at some point to discuss this project. Hey, Richard, you're in the chat. I am free next week. You can come on here, and Mr. Sean and I will take care of you, and we can discuss this a bit. But we do have a free week next week, so that'd be a good time, actually. So, but let me make sure I give everything said. The committee consists of Dr. Stephen Murphy, Division Education Chairman, and Professor Sean Heel, Brigade Commander Timothy Garcia, and that is the Tennessee State VP OCR, and of course, Mr. Richard Garcia himself. Jack Nabbit, I looked down for 1 second. Commander Stone's playing with his dog. It got me. Oh. Oh, good job, Commander. Well done, sir. That got me good. And then Kenny's got his astronaut helmet. Oh, it's going to be a great episode. So for those who don't know, I live on a dog farm, and I told that to Commander Stone before he came on, and now he's torturing me by the fact I'm not at the farm right now, not playing with my dog. And we do have a camp turkey shoot, but I'm going to let, I think, one of the camp members who's on tonight talk about that. You good with that, Councilman? All right, good. All right. Other than that, let's see here. Mr. Sean, if you want to take it away for a second.
Alrighty. I literally just got this email from our division, Lieutenant Commander of the Florida Division. There's got to be a parade Saturday, November the 11th, 2023. Meet time is 9:15 to 9:30. Parade starts at 10 a.m. Please do not be late. Roads are closed at 10 a.m. You will not be able to get to the motorcade meeting area. If you're riding a motorcycle, we got 2 addresses. One is, they're both in Trenton. One's at an elementary school, and the other one is Glensham County Library. If you're not riding a motorcycle but want to carry a flag or ride on our parade trailer, meet at the Trenton Elementary School. So I just got that from our Florida McCav captain, David King. So we got a lot of cool things coming up. My camp, if any members of my camp are watching, we have a meeting this Saturday at Crackling Jacks. It's going to be a fun time and plan for the upcoming year. So everybody in Florida just waiting for this heat to get done and over with so we can get rock and roll, and got hit up 2 days ago. Some of you may have seen it on my personal page by our where I live at here in Lee County, Florida. She's retired historian for the county on a Confederate riverboat captain's grave that is supposed to be buried in Sanibel, Florida. So I got to talk with another person that loves to clean headstones. She said it's a jungle in there. I'm like, okay, that's fine for me. So here in the next couple of days, we're going to go and see if we can locate that grave and get national and division info so it can be on the grave registrations.
Well, that sounds pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. We are about at that time. I do want to let our guests know they have all the time they want to talk. We have gone over our time here a bit, Mr. Sean, so y'all just know that Dag nabbit, Kenny. Dag nabbit. I love Kenny. This is why I like Kenny when he's on. He kills me backstage, man.
Yeah,
and no one else
the
can see
spaceman.
it. Oh, he gets me every time. But first, Mr. Sean, if you want to take this one real quick and read that out to everybody about this lovely
gentlemen and ladies, 2023, the Battle of Skirman Creek, 701 County Road 104, Crossville, Alabama, November 3rd through the 5th. Reenactment. Yeah, so this that mean, didn't you?
Oh yeah, it was on purpose.
There's going to be, of course, infantry, cavalry, artillery, demonstrations, period settlers, food, entertainment, ladies' tea, and much more. $5 registration fee, $10 meal. Reenactors, get a hold of Jeremy Booth.
Perfect.
I had to look close and read the fine print.
Don't worry, it happens to me all the time on this show. Had to throw Mr. Sean mess with him for a second, but next bit up, I do want to talk about one more camp from the Mississippi Division. They just celebrated their 28th camp reunion. And that is, of course, the Gainesville Volunteers Camp 373. Yeah, if you look slightly, that is a beautiful cake. You're going to have to turn your head a smidge. But they had a great event. They had a packed out crowd from what I could tell. Looks like all was good in Dixieland that day when they had this, of course, lovely event. Of course, you can see there, I'll mess with him, is our 5th Brigade Commander, Jesse Stanford, along with Camp Commander Daryl Ladner, Commander-in-Chief Jason Boshears, and, of course, the 5th Brigade Aide to Camp Jack DuPont. And, of course, he has a lot of other positions. God bless this poor kid. He runs around and he works his butt off for the cause and does a lot. And I believe that is a new version of the camp charter that was presented to the camp. They had over 50 compatriots in attendance. Here's a group picture of the crowd. Lovely, lovely crowd. And we might spend a bit more time talking about this because it's a big deal. And so I want to kind of give it a bit more of a time slot, maybe next week. But I had to mention it, that this camp got a proclamation from their state representative and from, I believe, the city, if I'm not mistaken, Jack. And that is a big deal. They had Gainesville Volunteers Day. And that is just something we should all strive to, is to have that big of a connection in our community. And I think I'm going to spend a bit more time talking about that next week. I wanted to mention it tonight, but I want to stress the importance of it tonight. Paul, Commander Gramlin, calling me out for laughing about something we cannot see. That is true. Commander Stone and Councilman Ramsey are killing me behind the scenes. I cannot stop laughing. Thank y'all for that. But I wanted to mention it tonight. Yeah, Jack, I did see it. I just wanted to give a bit more time to talk about it because it is a big deal, and I want to kind of dive into my thoughts on it a bit deeper. But we got some great guests tonight, and I want to go ahead and get them on. So I want to go ahead, and we're going to hit our Pop-Tart break, and we're going to come back. And again, tonight's Pop-Tart break, like every Pop-Tart break here on SCV Chat, is sponsored by the Kennedy Twins' newest book, Jefferson Davis, High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government. Jefferson Davis, High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government is about how Jefferson Davis was a leader in the high road to emancipation. He looked for a day when slaves would be prepared to live and participate in society. He did more, though, than advocate for this high road to emancipation. He practiced his beliefs in the ultimate emancipation of Southern slaves. Many of his former slaves left for prosperity and their testimony about the master who prepared them to be self-sustaining members of society. You can get the Kitty Twins' newest book at www.kittytwins.com and most online bookstores, including scv.org and visitbeauvoir.org. We want to thank the Kitty Twins for sponsoring tonight's Pop Tart Break. And when we return, we will have Army of Northern Virginia Commander Kevin Stone and Army of Northern Virginia Councilman Kenny Ramsey on to talk about the Army of Northern Virginia. So sit back, enjoy the commercial break, share this video out while we're enjoying the commercial break so we can get everybody in attendance for what comes next. We will see you guys after this Pop Tart break.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost. Stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
Again, we want to thank the Kenny Twins' newest book, Jefferson Davis, High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government, available at www.kennytwins.com and most online bookstores, including scv.org and visitbeauvoir.org. I do have a message from Chief of Heritage Operations. Apparently, he doesn't like me saying guys, and I have to say y'all. We'll be right back after the Pop-Tart break from now on. I think it was pretty good. I've only gotten 2 hours of sleep today, so I think I did a pretty good job. And now it is time for the main event. We are joined by the Army of Northern Virginia Commander Kevin Stone and the Army of Northern Virginia Councilman Kenny Ramsey. Gentlemen, it is a privilege to have you on. I'm happy to be talking about the Army of Northern Virginia today. So without further ado, gentlemen, take it away.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to defer to Kenny since he's the old salt here. So you go ahead and start, Kenny.
Well, I do appreciate being invited here, and want to thank both of y'all up there for getting us on here. Since I only found out about this very recently, I don't have a whole lot of stuff wrote down to talk about. Just a few. I can start off with something that Moose has already sort of mentioned, and it's not Army business, but it's my camp, so it's really important. We are having, for our 4th year running, we're going to be having our SCV Camp 2267 turkey shoot. We have it. The last 4 years, it has gotten bigger and bigger every year. We had over 250 people in our yard last year. We have it the Saturday before Thanksgiving and the Saturday, at least a week prior to Christmas, 5 to 9, just like this nice poster shows here. Come on out. We do it as a good old-fashioned Southern holiday turkey shoot like you'd see here in North Carolina 100 years ago. We got a couple of big fire pits going. We rotate between having a great big old pot of deer stew out here, or maybe some chicken and dumplings, stuff like that going on. We don't just give away turkeys. We have hams too. Occasionally we have a money round. And unlike some turkey shoots, it's not a 50-50 money round. We do 70-30. The winner gets 70%, and we get 30%. So anybody that can make it, hey, even you guys in Mississippi, plan your vacations to come on out and come join us for our turkey shoot. Get your holiday bird. Now, I will turn it over to Commander Stone.
Well, thank you, Kenny. I don't have a lot of written things, but I do want to mention something that's going on in the North Carolina division coming up pretty soon, and that is where the Yadkin Gray Eagles SCV Camp 1765 had been leading the charge to conserve the original Yadkin Gray Eagles company flag that was it is currently housed at the North Carolina Museum of History in Raleigh. This fragile historical flag once again resides at that museum and has undergone an amazing transformation that will allow it to be displayed in the near future. And my aide de camp is wanting to give information in the background. If you speak K9, you can understand what she's saying. They wanted to express their undying gratitude to all SCV camps, compatriots, as well as the leadership of the North Carolina Division for their donations and support over the past 6 years. Everyone's generosity has been instrumental in raising the nearly $29,000 that was needed to complete the conservation work. They've got a dedication ceremony that's planned, and it is September the 9th at 10:30 a.m. in the Daniels Auditorium of the North Carolina Museum of History in Raleigh. The museum is providing lunch and behind-the-scenes private tour of the flag collection at the museum. So anybody that wants to go, you not only will see the flag that they conserved, but you'll also be able to see many flags, and they've got one of the largest Confederate flag collections in the United States. So the last time I went up there, we saw some flags that hadn't been pulled out or seen in probably 50 years. And unfortunately, due to political correctness, it may be one of the only ways you get to see some of these flags. So we would love to have anybody that can attend to come out September the 9th and view what the Yadkin Gray Eagles have spearheaded. Let me pull my phone back up so that I can see what we got going on.
While you're doing that, I'll add just a little bit. I will be there, and I'm looking forward to that because by request, I have never seen it. It hasn't seen the light of day in many years. I have requested that they bring out to show the 3rd North Carolina State Troops flags, which is my camp, the Holly Shelter Volunteers. That is their regiment. And that flag was captured at Sharpsburg and really not in great shape. But I'm really looking forward to probably the only time we'll ever be able to see it.
Sounds great. Another thing that's been an ongoing situation in the Army of Northern Virginia, I'm sure people are aware, is the Reconciliation Monument in I guess technically it's Virginia, but right up there underneath the belly of the beast. So there's been a lot of back and forth with lawsuits and getting people to sign up and speak. I know that I just got an email from Defend Arlington thanking everyone that signed up to speak at the public hearing. Got another week to submit public comments, and you can do that by mail or email. They've got a link where you can click on it and add in with your disdain for them wanting to remove our Reconciliation Memorial at Arlington National Cemetery. So I can get that email over to you if you want if anyone's interested to sign up. The more public comments, the better.
Awesome. Sounds like y'all have a good bit going on. Great to hear.
Well, I will add something else. It is in the ANV, up in the Delaware division. This is a little short notice. The Delaware Grays, Camp 2068, they put up a monument just a few years ago in association with the Georgetown, Delaware Historical Society. They have started just in recent months having a lot of comments, negative comments, trying to get it taken down, even though it was cleared by everybody before it was put up. They don't anticipate any major problems yet, but they are having a meeting and sort of a rally, they don't call it that, at the Georgetown Historical Society and at the monument this coming Saturday from 10 to 3. So they're requesting anybody that can come on up to Georgetown, Delaware. Unfortunately, I can't make it, but so.
And it's very important that everybody makes these events. Oh, wait a minute. There he is.
Yep.
He had to switch his camera around. It was really upsetting him. But it's very important we show up to these events and show out for our monuments. It's a sad world where we live in, where monuments to veterans are targeted. And it's sad that it's happened across the Confederation. I wish it was just a Yankee issue, that they were having an identity crisis, but they've tried to bring it down here to us now. And we got to start fighting people. You got to start supporting your local SCV camps, your brigades, your divisions, your armies, national. It is time to fight, people. It's just a shame it's come to this.
And, well, I do know, at least in our general area, North Carolina especially, we have had a few monuments that we put up. They take them down, we put them up. Just had a dedication up for one up in Newbern back in July. Brand new monument, never been there before. So it's starting to look up.
That's awesome. I love hearing about new monuments going up. It warms my heart. To quote, still a quote from Carl Jones.
And again, might sound like we're promoting our own state, but that's where we know the most about. Kevin, you want to comment on the Faith Parade, 4th of July Parade?
The Faith 4th of July Parade was an overwhelming success again. Having been invited and participated in it myself, pulling the SCV Mechanized Cavalry Mobile Command Unit, I saw firsthand the overwhelming 99.9% positive support from the general public. High fives and thumbs up, and people running up to the vehicles and slapping hands. The public loved us, and I was just one small part of that contingent of motorcycles, reenactors, artillerists, and OCR, SCV, SCVMC people that went, and they won a couple of years ago the best float in the parade. So that just shows you the support of the people. But of course, there's going to be one or two very loud left-wing dingbats that are going to try to ruin things for everybody. And so they went on a very loud and relentless campaign against the SCV being allowed in the parade. And much to their chagrin, we're still there and have been continuing to honor our ancestors in a positive way and make the newspapers and the television stations with more positive publicity. So if you're around North Carolina on July the 4th and want to either participate in or attend and watch an excellent parade that's Confederate friendly with live fires from the riflemen every so often and revving motorcycles and cool floats, then come on down to Faith, North Carolina.
Whew. I wish I lived close to North Carolina. Sounds like a heck of an event, Commander. Maybe, hopefully one day I'll head that way. Maybe I can steal some money from the Florida man and I can go.
That's not a problem. Faith, North Carolina is a beautiful town. I got family in Salisbury.
Well, I'll go ahead and switch it over into South Carolina. Upcoming event. We all know how great NASCAR has been to the SCV and Southern Cause. So, I was a diehard NASCAR fan until just a few years ago, and I won't even turn it on for a second. Don't read the news. Most of us are that way, but they do, going back to somewhat tradition, have this Southern 500 at Darlington on Labor Day. And I had permanent seats there for years and years, which I gave up. But the couple of local SCV camps in Florida still every year, right outside the gate across the road, they put up a tent, they have flags, they sell T-shirts, they push everything Southern to everybody who is coming into the track. I've been down there helping them the last couple of years. They attract people from all camps that want to stop by. So I'll probably, if I can get away, I will be down there again this year. So I encourage, if there are any members that still would be inclined to go to the Darlington racetrack on Labor Day, stop by and see Archie Herring over at the SCV tent.
Whew. That's awesome. I'm about to commit a Southern atrocity and say that I have never watched NASCAR before. And I know that shocks some people, considering I'm from Mississippi, and that's about as redneck and Southern as you can get sometimes. And I'm messing with Kenny here on that. Every Southern state thinks it's the most Southern state, but I never. I don't know if it was just my area, but yeah, I never got into NASCAR, but I never felt more slapped in the face when NASCAR turned its back on its Southern roots. But it's good to hear about SCV camps keeping up the good fight for fighting for those traditions in NASCAR. And it just proves that I think that the camps are the backbone of the SCV and can do great works. And that's what I'm happy to hear about.
Well, Moose, we can sort of forgive you for never being a NASCAR fan, because at your age, by the time you were realizing there was a NASCAR, it was already pretty much gone out the door.
Yeah.
Earnhardt.
See,
funny enough, I do know that name.
Just like Kenny was talking about having season tickets. I had season tickets at Daytona, back super stretch. I gave them up.
Yep.
I'm just going to throw the Army of Trans-Mississippi Councilman under the same bus I am, Charles LeRae. He says, don't feel bad. I never went to a NASCAR race, and they turned into carpetbaggers. I knew I'd made the right decision, which Kenny might fight you on that one. They are carpetbaggers, but I do think Kenny does still love NASCAR. I get it, because Ole Miss, the University of Mississippi, is probably my closest experience to that. And so I know just the heartache and break of loving something that's rooted in Southern tradition, and it just be taken from you. Like it feels almost, sadly, like it's almost expected for them to attack SCV or our heroes at this point. And again, it's sad that it's come to that, but now they're attacking institutions, and it's only going to get worse from here. And that's why we're here today fighting for it.
Yep. Oh, well, I will switch back into North Carolina now. Coming up on Veterans Day, coming in November. The town of Warsaw in North Carolina. Remember that one, Kevin? They have a Veterans Day parade, it is the oldest continuous Veterans Day parade in the country. And it was, from what I was told, originally started by Confederate veterans. And we are every year, a couple of camps in this area, my camp included, we go up and we're welcomed in the parade. I usually drive an antique car with flags and the SCV logo. The Kenansville camp has a huge float that they put in it, and we are well welcomed all the way through it. So that's another plus we've got. That this never stopped it, never any bad write-ups or anything else. So if you're in the Warsaw area for Veterans Day, come on out. It's a big parade.
Whew, that definitely does sound awesome.
Your turn, Kevin.
All right. Well, this weekend, it's just starting up right now, is the 24th annual North Carolina Sons of Confederate Veterans Mechanized Cavalry Two Dogs Invitational, which is their state meeting. It's also the Nathan Bedford Forest Camp 803, which is my camp's big fundraiser of the year. We always have put it on. I've got one of the shirts here, if I can show it.
Ooh.
Nice, pretty orange shirt. It's got our original two dogs down there at the bottom, and then it's got three more dogs that just mysteriously look like three of the four that live at my house. Can you believe that? So
Yeah.
Anyway, there's motorcycle riding and fellowship. There's going to be some meetings and some historical presentations. So if any of you locals, anybody within a couple of hours drive, want to go to the Clarion, this weekend will be a great time to learn some history, eat some good homemade sausage Friday night. There's andouille sausages and Cajun sausages on the grill with peppers and onions. Saturday night's homemade barbecue with tater salad and coleslaw. And there'll be live music both nights. So come on down to Maggie Valley, North Carolina, and have fun with the Metcalf.
Ooh.
All righty. Well, again, shifting into North Carolina. Come up October 12th through the 22nd of this year, we have the North Carolina State Fair up in Raleigh at the fairgrounds. It's a very huge, you might as well compare it to some of the huge theme parks, except that you got an awful lot of Southern food served there. We have been fortunate for years. We have had a division booth there, and we've had a few negative comments, but not bad. And we will have another booth there this year. Same spot, everything. A few years ago, we were giving out stickers that said, I defend Confederate heritage, or I love Confederate heritage, with the battle flag on it. Well, suddenly they had a few complaints, and they said, you can't give out stickers anymore. And they said, to do that, you're going to have to put up a $500 deposit or a $500 fee to be able to give them out. We brought that up at one of our division meetings and passed the hat, and they came up with more than enough. So the next year, they just banned them all together. And now, even more popular, we've come out with large red buttons that we can pass out that say the same thing. They look the same, but they are not wear one time. They can keep them and wear them right on. And that is, we've passed out thousands and thousands of them. I will also say that this past year, we had a life-size, y'all have seen them, life-size cutout of Robert E. Lee standing there. And people were just left and right wanting to come up and get a picture with Robert E. Lee. Unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately, directly across from us was the Democratic Party booth, and they had their large life-size pictures out front. Nobody wanted a picture with them. They were all flocking to Robert E. Lee. So gives you an opinion. So we were way more popular than either of the political booths that were near us. People were coming to us wanting pins, looking at T-shirts, everything, and they would just walk by everything else. So if you want a really good time, come out to the North Carolina State Fair from October 12th to the 22nd.
Sounds like a great time, and I love hearing about camps getting involved in their community like this and not being bullied out of it. I think it's very important for camps to balance community involvement and defending our heritage. And of course, when you do community involvement, that's another way of doing the charge and defending heritage. Talking about probably what I'm trying to describe as more of a hands-on approach on that one. But I'm glad to hear that y'all have a lot of good community events out there that y'all are still in there with.
Well, we do have a few bad, but I think overall we have more good than bad.
It's always great to hear, Councilman.
Yeah. Even the bad has a little bit of a good side, and I shouldn't laugh. Nobody was hurt. Up in Weldon, North Carolina, about a week ago, you might have seen it pass around on Facebook. A, quote, drunk driver ran into the 100-year-old monument, Confederate monument there, and it really just virtually destroyed the monument, but the shaft fell over and crushed his car. So, that was kind of, nobody was hurt, so that was kind of the gotcha side, the funny side.
Even our monuments don't take anything from.
Nope.
That's amazing.
And on the good side, they are considering putting it back up or replacing it, from what I'm hearing.
Sounds awesome.
Yep.
Well, gentlemen, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the best case scenario would be from to put it back up like it's supposed to be, and maybe put a little barrier between it and the drunk drivers of the future. But time will tell on that. But the North Carolina Division will stand fast to make sure that they follow the law and do as they're supposed to.
It's good to hear. Anything else on y'all's mind, gentlemen, that you want to talk about tonight?
Not really, except you have my appreciation for having us on here. And I promise if we ever do it again, that I will be a little more prepared.
Well, I hope y'all are on next month.
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be a recurring thing. So
next month.
Yeah. Okay, let me next time I'll be more prepared because I'll know about it.
I'll send y'all the date for your next episode after this. And I do want to thank the Army of Northern Virginia Commander and Councilman for coming on. Everybody, as you know, can get extremely busy. Southern people are very working people. We don't really take breaks, and while this isn't a break, you do have to have a time to do it. So I do want to thank you, gentlemen, for coming on and representing your Army and representing some of those upper Southern states. And I'm happy that y'all did so. I want everybody to share this out, especially if you are in the Army of Northern Virginia. Share it to your camp, your brigade, if you can, your division page. Let's get this news out there, people. It's always good to share news from across the Confederation and across different armies and, of course, in your Army. So make sure you do that. Make sure you tune in Monday for the next episode of SCV Chat at 7 p.m. Confederate Standard Time, where we'll have the executive director of the SCV, Adam Southern, on for our Hearth and Home episode, letting you know everything going on at the National Confederate Museum in Elm Springs at our beautiful SCV HQ. If you want to go to space, you contact Kenny Ramsey at Councilman. Places. Again, 7 p.m. Confederate Standard Time, Monday, same Confederate channel. And this Thursday, we don't have an Army coming on this Thursday, but we will try to have our next Thursday, we will try to have a guest. And after that, we will repeat the process. It will be Army of Tennessee, Army of Trans-Mississippi, and then we'll end it up with the upper southern states of the Army of Northern Virginia. And so, again, please share this out. Make sure you go support the Friends of the Freeman Group live stream Of course, go support the Florida man, Sean McFall, on Tuesdays for Look Around Florida. And, well, I guess without further ado, gentlemen, just remember to stay Southern, and we'll see y'all later. Good night, y'all. There you
Take
go.
care.